Welcome to the Free Spirit Woman podcast. I'm Rechelle, your host and intuitive truth teller and doTERRA leader in the Free Spirit Oil tribe. Join me and my inspiring guests as we share stories, weave magic, and give intuitive insight into what it takes to be a free spirit woman. Courageously growing your oil business, turning your fear of network marketing into your fuel and unleash your magic to the world unapologetically. Let's do it.
I have a really amazing, gorgeous soul today who I'm interviewing. Her name is Aletta. She is an intuitive guide teacher who supports men and women in accessing and understanding their inner being and intuition to support them in life navigation. Lauren is the author of the soon-to-be-published book, Seasons of the Soul, a mystic's guide into personal seasons. This is her new book coming. And she's also the creator of the Lumina tarot and Connected and Free Oracle cards, which I absolutely love. I've been using the Connected and Free Oracle cards myself personally, and they've given me a lot of guidance over the last few years myself. Even the tarot are just amazing, but I do use the Connected and Free Oracle cards quite a lot on a day-to-day basis. And she also has a free monthly ebook, which is called the Soul School Monthly. So get on her website and sign up. Honestly, this woman is truly amazing. Lauren also has always been passionately called to explore and study the unseen mechanics of the universe and delights in the privilege she has in expanding other people's field of consciousness to create dynamic shifts in their life. This woman is mind-blowing. I know you're going to love her conversation I have with her today. It is just insane. So happy listening to the Free Spirit Radio. Thanks again. Bye.
Hello, Lauren.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast. I'm so very grateful to be interviewing you today.
No, thank you for inviting me. It's going to be a fun session, no doubt.
Yes, I can't wait to get into these questions with you. Oh my God, just so excited. So thank you. So can we just get straight into it, Lauren? Is that all right with you?
Please do. I like launching in.
All right. So first question is the obvious question. What is a free spirit woman to you, Lauren?
A free spirit woman to me is a woman who defines herself internally, someone who doesn't subscribe to the rules and regulations that perhaps women are inadvertently or overtly that they should subscribe to. So she basically just goes, I hear you, but, that's not me. And this is who I am, and this is how I'm going to live my life. And really just owns herself and allows her own path, like to be proactive and carving out her own path and to not necessarily just buying into how we're taught we're supposed to be as a woman and as a female in society.
And so just to talk about your background, Lauren, has that ever come about where you've had to step into that part of yourself where you've not?
All the time.
Yeah. Right. So what would be a part of your journey that has, been really quite evident that you had to step into that full self? That's been something that you could share with the listeners around.
Yeah, gosh, yeah.
Yeah, like maybe something that's really strong around that. Yeah.
I suppose there's been lots of things on my path. So I sort of grew up in a semi-religious household, and the kind of intuitive or perceptive gifts that I had, I was taught that, that was the work of the devil as such. There was something wrong with me. And so I had to, obviously I wanted to fit in with my family and fit in within sort of religious background that I was very much connected to, because I wanted to have that connection with God, inverted commas, or source, whatever your word want to be. But I was like, you know what, that doesn't really feel right or sit right. And so it was just going, yeah, that's not who I want to be, or I'm not going to allow you to define me because I know that there's nothing wrong with me, and I'm not going to let you tell me that there is. I think I am similar to 3 children. So I think the way I have chosen and continue to choose to raise my children on the level of strength and the 2 different roles that I need to play very much makes me question the role of the woman and what we're told is acceptable or unacceptable in being a mother or how I'm meant to lead and guide. And I suppose just general, I'm a little bit gutsy. I'm a little bit wild. I won't necessarily conform to the norm or how a woman should act or should behave or kinds of opinions that she should and shouldn't have. I'm going to really sit with that's right for me and then decide, okay, I'll respect that's your view, but that's certainly not mine. And I'm not going to allow you to define by that, or I'm not going to obey this spoken or unspoken rule. So I don't know, that there is, I suppose, a feminist element of me or a naughty factor in me that, I'll just sort of respectfully go thanks, no thanks.
And so do you feel that you've always sort of had that, just with what you're saying, Lauren, and having met you a few times and followed you for quite some time now online, do you feel that this is sort of something in your genes, your makeup, or do you feel this is something you've had to really conquer in your world? Even though you battle with it, you know, like you said, there's always been parts of your journey. Like, do you feel that it's a part of or do you think you've chosen this?
Yeah. So if I'm going to go, I think deep down inside me, it's probably there, but I think it's there for all men and women. I don't think this is something that is just like a gene or in me. But for a long time, it was very, very, very underneath a lot of layers of me. So it probably ultimately wasn't until I was about 25 that I fully into it. I showed signs and little like sporadic experiences of myself through childhood and as a teen where I kind of went, I don't know, that doesn't feel right. But I didn't step into it. So it was internally, I'm like, that doesn't feel right, but I'm not going to be that because I still want to be accepted. So it wasn't until I probably got to my mid-20s, which was actually after the breakdown of my marriage, where I owned myself and I started to go, I'm no longer going to be afraid of hiding me because you might reject me. I'm not going to live in two worlds, be sort of rebellious or very strong inside, but not accept on the outside. So it's been something I've had to practice and continue to practice. In fact, I had to practice it today. I had to tell a person, no, I'm really sorry. I don't want to do that with you. I'd rather, put a boundary there. Naturally, I want to be accepted or seen as the nice person, but it's always at the expense of myself for someone else. And there comes a time where you just got to stop that.
Ooh, well, actually, now that you've just talked about boundaries, Lauren, I'm actually going to tap into you on this. And this is interesting, working with an intuitive like yourself. But I don't know if you call yourself that. I don't think you do. But do you? But
I don't really know what to call myself.
Yeah, I know. You sort of, when I read your stuff, I don't know. But anyway, talking about boundaries, right? So the Free Spirit Woman, I love everything you've said, and I can see you are that. You have got that wild side, just even with your book that I've bought from you and your cards, you've got that wild aspect. But then that doesn't mean to say you go for your own battles in your own way. But with the boundary side of things, because I commonly hear this quite a lot, like it's huge. Do you mind if I just ask you something around boundaries? I know it wasn't part of the, So, because boundaries are quite interesting because I do hear women wanting to fix it and wanting to set boundaries and really wanting to do it, but it's still a common problem, 10 years down the track, 5 years down the track, where they're still saying the same thing. I've got to set boundaries with these people. I've got to set boundaries with my family because, as you know, with being a mother yourself or a wife or even a best friend or a partner or a work colleague, boundaries are hard. So I'm interested on your take on this. Like, I know you just say it and you do it, but what parts of you?
No, there's a lot of preparation.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So what is that? What do you do, Lauren?
Well, I still find setting boundaries, but I'm becoming increasingly better at them. But it takes, like I said, there's preparation before you're able to set a boundary. So what I've noticed is really identifying what isn't working for you. If you're there running after your kids, perpetually, being their kind of slave or being whatever it is that you are to them, or serving them or supporting your partner at the expense of yourself, that comes ultimately back down to you. And this comes back down to how much you're going to honor yourself and value yourself. And this is something I don't think women are taught. We are not taught to value ourselves. How we're taught to value ourselves is our value and worth from how much we can serve another being, not from how much we can serve ourselves. And yet when we serve ourselves, we serve others. When we are serving others, we are very ungrounded, like we don't know ourselves, and we can be easily like manipulated and not actually valued for our true gifts or true service. So the person that we're serving doesn't really appreciate us, doesn't really value the kind of input that we have, the skill that we have, because we have them. I'm here at your beck and call, on your command. And as we all know, if something's just available to us continually, we don't really value it, we take it for granted. And more than that, it can be abused. And what we do as people is we'll stamp our feet. And as women, we go, husband, you're just taking it for granted. I'm sick and tired of you not listening to me. Children, I'm sick and tired of you not listening to me. It means squat diddly shit. Am I allowed to swear?
Go for it. Be your total self, Lauren.
They just sort of like blah, 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 blah. 5 minutes. Oh, mum's cranky at me or my wife's cranky at me. For 5 seconds. And you know what? That's because the true strength of us and our value is only going to come from when we decide we're going to own it and sit into it. And that entirely shifts our energy.
100%.
Entirely shifts our energy. And when you look at people, whether they're men and women, who are respected, who have good boundaries, and who are valued for their input or their service in the world, it is because they themselves value it. And so I think it comes from really going, okay, what is it that I want here? What is important to me? What are my values and beliefs? Like that behavior from, Aunt Elsa over there, how she does that every time she comes to the Christmas lunch, I'm not okay with that anymore. And I'm going to need to address her about that. And you can do that lovingly and set that boundary, and that allows that person to make an informed decision for themselves. They might be upset at you. That's okay. If you're going to facilitate conversation in a loving way, but in an anchored way, that's now their stuff. You're going, I want you here, but getting blind, drunk, and causing arguments is not exactly how I want my Christmas to turn out. Thanks very much. And that's internally, that's like I connect with myself and really begin to go, man, I want to own this part of me. I want to own this is a safe space for people to have Christmas. I want to own that we can all enjoy ourselves. Like really get into your why. And then it requires that next level of bravery of their standing in it. You'll know it. You'll be faced with a situation where that intuitive internal part of you will go ding, 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 ding. Okay, here's your opportunity to say no. Or here's your opportunity to go, sorry guys, I know on a Sunday I usually get up and cook you all a hot breakfast, but I'm not anymore. I'm going to meditate, and if you like, you can cook yourself a hot breakfast and cook me one while you're at it. But this is how it's going to be right now, from now on in, because this is my time. And yeah, it takes a bit of practice and a bit of bravery, but it strengthens your energetic system. Holy crap, does it strengthen your energetic system? It makes you realize you feel more empowered and realize your value and worth, and then commit to what you're here to be the expression of. It makes you a safe person. Boundaries make you a safe person for those that you're here to support.
Yes. And sorry, just as you're talking and all these beautiful answers, when you talk about honouring yourself,
yeah.
Again, this is another hot topic, isn't it, really? Honouring yourself. So, I mean, it is pretty much what you've said, but is there anything you'd like to add to honouring yourself? And when someone says, well, how do you honour yourself? How do you put yourself first? Because there's so much around this, isn't there? Self-care, self-love, which I'm a big advocate for. And I struggle, like all of us. It's just part of what women do. And our mothers, I know, for instance, my mother, I hope she's not listening to this, but anyway, she's always been the one that does everything for everybody. And I've watched her be my role model. And then she's a strong woman. But I've chosen it a lot different myself personally in the way I manage my home front. Like my husband, we're a team. We're not just a family. We're a team of people that all contribute. Yeah. So how do you honour? How would you say to someone, if someone said to you,
Well, Lauren, look, I can really see that you're doing this. How do you honour yourself? Is it the boundaries?
Right. How I honour myself is different day to day. So I think there are different layers of it. How I honour myself, my foundation, that's something it's taken me a really long time to develop and explore. But it's to go, okay, who is it that I am? What is it that's important to me? What do I want to experience? How do I contribute? So once I've got all of those clear, and that is coming out of me, something that I'm checklisting against some external social, paradigm, I'm going, this is who I am. This is how I want to contribute. This is what's important to me. These are basically the rules of my life. Get that down. And then to go, okay, within every situation is unique and from day to day. So how I need to honour myself today. Today, it might be I need to blitz out some work and I need to say no to people who might want to have a bit of my time. That's how I'm going to honour me. It's not, and I need to be firm with that, not firm as into them, but just go, no, this is what I can feel my energy today. This is how it's going to be important for me to honour myself today. Other times, I have work up to my eyeballs, but really, I am truly exhausted. And how I'm going to honour myself is to create that boundary inside of me to say, no, Lauren, your whole being is telling you you're not going to be effective at working today and you need to rest or you need to do the bare minimum and that's going to be your work today. So I think how you honour yourself is, again, like listening to that intuitive voice inside, that inner guide inside. And every time you dishonour it, you harm yourself, which then affects the whole. It has to come out somewhere. It doesn't just go you're self-harming. You're self-harming you, yes, which has a domino effect onto your external environment in a variety of ways. So the whole martyr syndrome really friggin' doesn't work. And not only that, you clog up your system, you clog up your chakras, your field gets steady, you feel increasingly disconnected from yourself. And then ultimately you'll either end up in a depression or a period of a depression or a period of anxiety or a period of disconnection and feeling lost, which is shitty places as we all know to be. So
totally agree.
Yeah.
I loved all that. Thank you. So jumping along, oh my God, I just done another 3 questions on top of what I did. I knew it'd be like this with you. I knew I'd have to wreck your brains. So spiritual practices, what would be sort of the predominant things that you do day in, day out that would be, I mean, I know you can change as time goes on, but yeah.
It's interesting you're going to hit on this one because it's something that I've changed a little bit of my outlook on this. So my outlook around spiritual practices used to be very flexible, and to a degree they still are. So that means you were to listen to yourself and where you're at. If you're feeling your inner guide is going to prompt you, you need to get up and go for a walk in the morning, or you need to get up and sit down and tune in and listen to you, or get some cards and play around with that, or watch that documentary. You're led all the time. I actually see anything like that as a spiritual practice that is supporting you with where you are or what you're ready to explore, uncover for yourself. But I'm going to go, while I used to say, just meditate when you get the calls and sit down and tune in, I am really now going to own, if you're committed to your internal journey, which is then going to be reflected in your external world, if you're committed to exploring your soul and maybe even stepping into the whole concept of your soul purpose, which is got an entirely different topic, but requires commitment and it requires you to be committed to yourself and I think turn up every day to tune into you. And I would almost say that's a non-negotiable. Yeah, I do. So it can be 5 or 10 minutes, or you can take an hour or a whole day for you to be in communion with internal self. But it is very much about, if I'm real about this, if you want a healthy friendship or a healthy marriage, you invest and you turn up to it every day. You're not going to abuse it. You're not going to ignore it. You're not going to, take it for granted and just go, I deal with that tomorrow and I deal with that tomorrow. It's about going, I'm going to tune in to where I'm at today and be myself.
Yeah, I love that. And I think we do, well, I found for me too as well, all my things that I do, I change too, and some days are different. So there's real no regular thing with me. Sometimes it's just sitting outside and doing gardening. Like it's whatever you feel called to do, doesn't it? Like we change, don't we? We're evolving, especially when we use our intuition all the time. It's like, okay, what do I need today? What do I need today?
And it's usually really holistic. It's going to be, you're going to find your body will tell you you're needing to nourish yourself with these kinds of foods. You're needing to nourish yourself with this kind of information. You're needing to nourish yourself with these kinds of connections with people. You're needing to nourish yourself with this kind of movement. And I have come to believe if we're really aware, we're actually guided every day to cover those main core elements. We're needing to nourish ourselves by contributing and participating in this sort of way. The things that our inner being requires and that our human beings are desiring to experience. Like it wants to, and our human self is going to feel irritated, agitated, frustrated, bored, and looking for things that are going to complicate it. Like, so looking for the trashy TV, the trashy mags, the junk food, the alcohol, the gossipy conversations as a way to try and fill the need of how we're not truly nourishing ourselves.
It all just really, for me, as you're saying all that, it's all about your intuition, isn't it? It's really just coming back to yourself, always checking in with yourself as to where you're at and what you need for you. And always coming back to you.
Aligned behaviors, that's it. Like you can catch yourself in it. Shit, you walk away and go, I just been gossiped, and that doesn't feel good in my body. And how come? And what's going on for me? And that comes from the answer comes from internally because you're starving yourself in some way.
It's so true. Right, well, the next question is a good one, and you're going to love it. What is intuition to you? I mean, I know this is, you could talk about this all day, Lauren, but like in the snappiest way, please.
All right, snappy. I'll do my best. Intuition is really simple. It is the ability to perceive unseen information outside of your five senses. So we see less than 1% of the light spectrum, which is what our physical world is made of. Every physical object is actually come from light, and light, we can go into the science of it. You can find that elsewhere. But we have the capacity, because we are vibrational beings at our foundation, we are energetic beings. That means we can pick up like radio waves as such, frequency that sits outside of the 1%. So intuition is using our extra sensory perception, which is simply, I'm just getting a feeling, I'm getting a sensation, I'm getting a knowing. Oh, I just saw a little, I knew that was going to happen, or a flash image of what it's going to look like or feel like, or I heard a few words. And it's there to support your internal and external alignment. It's there to assist you in healing whatever may need to be healed. It's there to guide you through your life, through the day. So it's a navigational tool to so that you can experience yourself or your soul, and that you can lead a fulfilling life. Intuition at its highest form gives you access to your soul information, and then supports you in facilitating or contributing that your soul information or your purpose in the world.
Wow. So what about the person that says, I don't know how to use my intuition, it's not there, I don't get that sort of thing, I don't get those feels, I don't get those hits, I don't get that vibe, like they're in their 40s or 30s and they believe that they just don't know, they don't believe that they've got it. What would you say to someone that said that to you?
Playfully and cheekily, bullshit.
Oh, no,
bullshit,
which
is generally what I say. I'm like, nah. Bullshit, but I do understand that is their real experience, and so then I get curious and I ask them a few sorts of questions. If I'm going to quickly go on a broader spectrum, we are all at different stages of our own evolution. So if we use the silly analogy, somebody might have 7 PhDs in terms of their soul's evolution, and the next person next to them might still be in kindergarten. This doesn't make them better or worse. Someone, it just is, and we are all going to be evolving up the spectrum anyhow. It's what we do with the level of information that we have, or the level of awareness that we have. So there are people that they really just don't pick it up. And if that's where you're at, then they're probably not even listening to your podcast. For those that are listening to your podcast, for those that are listening to your podcast, I would say, even if you haven't yet harnessed or understood your intuitive gifts, you're here for a reason, and therefore a part of you is going, okay, I resonate, I do have this, I know I have it, but I haven't yet learned it, because it's a learnt skill and we're not supported to learn it. So I go, okay, how much are you still stuck in the past? How much are you still allowing past experiences, past hurts, past traumas, whether consciously or unconsciously, to define you? Where is your energy anchored? Are you still defining yourself by an experience you have not yet healed? So our system is clogged up because we haven't genuinely and truthfully dealt with stuff. If we're still pissed and angry that that thing happened to us, then we're not going to really be able to perceive how our intuitive language speaks to us. The more you clean that up and the more you spend time being curious, I think the other really friggin' fascinating thing for me, is that people think that once we reach a certain age, we stop growing. It's like, well, I've gone through puberty. I'm now in my early 20s and now I just get old. And I'm like, why do we have this concept? Why do you stop being really curious and engaged around the fact we're still growing, but we're growing in an unseen kind of way? So, it's about getting curious then around, okay, how do I feel stuff? How do I sense things?
Yeah, I love that. And I think the more we get curious about everything in our life, the more we can really dig deep, hey?
That's it. The more your sensory, your internal senses, your inner guide will speak to you. It's a journey. It's like, once it's a muscle that you have to learn how to use, and the more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Wow. I just love it. Love. Thank you. So I'll just want to ask you about probably self-doubt, because the work that I'm doing in the world, there is a lot of people that I talk a lot about self-doubt and fear. And I know we all go through it and there's all different stages of our life. But for someone that's really quite stuck, and I think it's all about living unapologetically, because that's another thing that I like to talk a lot about, I think, because it's been one of my biggest struggles, is apologising for who we are. Yeah. And like you said right in the beginning, and that's why I didn't sort of go into that unapologetic question, is because you sort of elaborated about it when I asked you about the Free Spirit Woman to you. But the fear and the self-doubt, right, when someone's stuck in that rut of just not, like they just don't know that first step, Lauren. They want to make that first step, but they're so stuck, or, the closest of people's in their life, the closest people in their life are really holding them back. What would you say to that girl that's just like stuck? She's stuck and she wants it and she knows she wants to do A, B, C, or she wants to do A, but
what would I say?
Yeah,
okay,
what would you say to that?
I would say no one holds back other than yourself. So anytime you're trying to redirect blame or redirect accountability and responsibility, like it ain't going to work there, and you're just keeping yourself so stuck. It's kind of saying, okay, I feel rotten, I feel stuck, I feel stagnant, I feel tired, I feel whatever. And rather than continuing to try to run away from it, step into it and go, I really don't know what I'm doing with myself right now. I feel like I'm, a big baku, and I'm just going to need to get comfortable with this right now, rather than trying to really avoid it or judge it and make it wrong. We make it wrong, by far too wrong. I shouldn't be here. I should be living a different kind of life. I should be really enjoying myself. Well, you're not, and all the shoulds in the world isn't going to change it. So just kind of step into it for one. And then when you do, that's where the answers reside. By not stepping into it, you can't move forward. By stepping into it and going, okay, this isn't how I wanted things to look, this isn't how I wanted things to be, and I feel really stuck. And allowing either yourself to group it, to release any grief around it, to allow yourself to be frustrated. Again, as women, we have been conditioned and taught that we are either too emotional, women shouldn't get angry, women shouldn't feel, sometimes very deep, real primal feelings that we can feel. And yet it's like vitally imperative, especially if you're in that I feel stuck place, as soon as you step into that stuck place and you become accustomed to it and you get curious about it, I will pretty much guarantee you that information will come. So by that, I mean, it's not about turning up and stepping into it for half an hour. I'm talking about turning up and stepping into it daily. It's like, yeah, I'm not feeling so great, and that's okay, because by stepping into it, I'm doing something about it. I trust that my body and being is going to reveal to me how to navigate forward. And as I am developing that communion with my inner self, that empowerment energy, that strength around that confirming, yep, that's what you're ready to do. That's what the next step is. I'm going to step more into that. That's going to come. And then the final hard choice will be putting it into action. So to go, I need to quit that job, or I'm going to change workplaces, or I'm going to have that conversation with my boss or my husband or my whoever. I'm going to sell up. You need to then finally take the action based on the guidance you're given, or this is where I'm a little bit kind of like hard-ass about it. Literally, if you're not ready to do it, if you don't feel you can do it, cool, get comfortable with where you're at and live with that feeling rather than continue to whinge that, yeah, like I am a little bit like, that's all right, you're not there yet, and no worries, just stop complaining about it. Are we going to do something about it or not?
Yeah, I really love that answer. That was great. Really good. Okay, so the last question before we do a little bit about you, Lauren, is what has been like the biggest turning point for you in the journey along your intuition, you know, the way you're out sharing what you do in the world? Like, what was the biggest turning point in your business with, you know, your beautiful decks and your book and your business?
Within my business?
Yeah.
Okay. When I really burnt out, I totally fried myself at the end of 2015 and worked for me for 2016. And that would be the biggest turning point for me, because I really saw how much within my business I was being driven by fear and trying to prove my value and worth still. Like it literally fried me. My body pretty much broke down and I had to rebuild from the ground up. So it was very much a journey of then rebuilding strong foundations that anchored in knowing my value and worth and choosing that as a priority rather than trying to please people or fit into how spiritual well-being, health, fear to fit in. It again was that kind of little rebellious learn, finally flipping the finger and going, love you guys, and this is really how I roll now because I have to, because I can't live if I don't do any other way. And those that are going to stay are going to stay. Those that are going to fall off, no worries. Like, full respect, much love, go on your journey. So yeah, my boundaries around that. Business for me, like you would know, affects your home life and, you know, how you parent and the wellness of your home, and it's required. That's quite serious, heavy. It's sort of like, yay. But from that, I mean, amazing things have come. My income has increased. Even though I worked less, my income increased in 2017, even more from 2016. So for 2 years, my income increased for my business by putting these boundaries in place, and would probably say to a degree working less, actually not to a degree, significantly working less than what I did in 2015 when I fried myself. So my income increased.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. And so it was interesting when I do my tax again this year to see whether my income increased now in 2018 more than 2017 and 2016.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how you've got to get to that point? Because I've had a lot of these points too in my life, breaking points.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for all of them. Are you, Lauren, on that level where you sort of, I mean,
for sure.
At the time when I was going through what I went through, I wasn't. But now when you look back, you know that they were the parts of you were the biggest turning points in your life where you then became who you needed to be, or you become who you needed to be.
Yeah. Well, I think you do. You have the choice. It's like, is this important to me? You know, do I want to keep funneling my energy here? You know, am I being told to direct and close up shop as such? Or is this something that, you know, am I still feeling called to be here? And if I am, to then go, okay, is this something bad that's happening to me, or is this something that's going to really empower and support me? And what am I going to do with it? Use something wisely, or you can disrespect the opportunity. I think, again, have a strict relationship with when things seemingly go wrong. It's not about, the Pollyanna. It's just about getting really real about what you're being shown and turning up to the lesson of it, rather than unconsciously going, I'll tell you right now, 2016 was a friggin' crappy year.
So was mine, darling. Yeah. It must have been that was when I went bankrupt that year. I had the worst year ever.
Quentin Tarantino was directing that year.
Yeah, well, someone's told me there was a lot of endings and a lot of breaking points in 2016. Huge. I keep hearing the same thing.
Huge. Yeah, huge. You're right. So it's about, did you learn? Did you really learn? Did you take the lessons from that? Have you recalibrated that? Have you integrated that? What are you doing? And have you embodied it? Has it just been like, oh, yeah, no, but you're not actually living it now?
Well, no. Thank you for that. That was amazing as the last question, Lauren, for the Free Spirit Woman. So thank you very much. Rightio. So about you now, Lauren. So not one word answers, but as quick as you can, if that's okay. So about you, what don't we know about you in the world of your online space, Lauren, or people that...
What they don't know about me?
Yeah.
Okay, quickly, I'm pretty much nearly 6 foot, so I'm really tall.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really tall. I know. And I'm quite self-conscious of it. Like, I have an insecurity around my height that I'm still working on. I really love to climb trees. I'm very awkward.
Yeah,
I'm just a bit daggy and dorky and awkward. I would be how I would describe myself. And yet I find all of these qualities now about me quite endearing. Yeah, I think that's probably what...
Great, I love those. They're great. What a cracker. What about your favourite book right now, Lauren? I'm sure you've got plenty, but right now, your favourite book?
I don't get much time to read other than boring, well, it's not that boring, but more work manuals, work books. My favourite book of all time, if I was to say more like that, are a few. I would go Shantram by Gregory David Roberts. I would go The Alchemist, which no doubt everybody knows, by Paulo Coelho. And I would say Conversations with God was quite a significant
okay, yeah.
By Neil Donald.
Yeah, I know that book. I can't get my head around that one. I find that really hard. I know, just mustn't be time. I've tried to read it a couple of times. Can't do it.
The first 50 pages are difficult.
Yeah.
50 pages.
Okay.
I found it easier, but yeah.
I'm going to have to try again, but I have tried it a few times. No, it mustn't be the right time.
It's not right. Leave it.
All right. Next question is, what can't you live life without?
Chocolate.
Oh, I love you. Even more. Oh, my God. Me too. I love chocolate. And who inspires you right now in what you do?
I think what's really deeply inspiring me is not necessarily a person, but it's looking at we're a little bit fated here on Earth at the moment. We have destroyed the absolute info out of beautiful Earth, and where I think, we've dug ourselves a bit of a hole. I 100% believe that we have the opportunity to get out of it, 100%. But it's going to require us to, I believe, turn inward. We cannot make the kind of rapid and dynamic change that we need for the wellness of our Earth and us as human species from the same level of awareness and consciousness and choice that we have been creating this issue we face with at now. So there's this huge consciousness shift that's going on. People are really waking up. People are really feeling called to live a different life, to function differently, to participate in the world differently. And that, to me, is going to come from, again, following the unseen guidance, stepping into our intuition, raising up and expanding our consciousness, which is just accessing more of the universal information out there and then putting it into application. So I think that's what inspires me and keeps me going to do the work that I do. It's not about tuning in and giving people that little feeling snippets about, how awesome they are. For me, definitely now it's more guys, all right, come on, you each have a really special message and purpose and skill and gift. No matter what it is, it's about supporting yourself to step into it and own it, because we friggin' need it. Otherwise, like predictions, it's like from science, predictions, it's quite scary.
Yeah, and we could sit here and talk about that, couldn't we, quite deeply?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I just want to, before I'll let you go, I want you to share with my listeners how they can, of course, what's your favourite place online and how they can find you, or if you had anything that you could maybe.
I love Instagram. It's my favourite. I love the community and the creative energy on Instagram. I'm under Innerhue, so INNERHUE. But yeah, you can go to my website, same, innerhue.com, on Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, that's where you can hit me up at, or just explore what I've got on those channels.
Yeah, I love your decks, Lauren. And if you don't know Lauren, her decks are incredible. And I'm not saying that to give you a plug. I'm saying it because I mean it right from my heart. So
thank you.
They really are.
Yeah.
And I know so many other women that are just love everything. Yeah, they really are.
Yeah.
So you are amazing. And I'm so very grateful, as I said at the beginning, for giving your time to me. I really appreciate that.
Well, I appreciated you inviting me on.
I was so on. I'm like, oh my God, Lauren said yes. So, yeah, I really.
You're fantastic.
Oh, thank you. But thank you so very, very much for this. Very, very blessed and grateful for you today on this podcast. And I'm sure everyone else is going to love you too, as much as I do. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Free Spirit Radio. Your feedback means the absolute world to me and helps me to bring you more guests and topics that support and inspire you. Email me over at love@freespiritwoman.com.au or direct message me on Instagram and Facebook to share your thoughts on this episode. In between episodes, you can also connect with me online at freespiritwoman.com.au. While you're there, please feel free to sign up to my newsletter. Each and every month, I send out a free spirit energy reading where I tune into the energy for the up and coming month and intuitively share steps you can take to become your best and bravest self. So that's all for now. See you next time.